You know what I want? Tournament arc. Fuck me up, fam. Let's do it. Reen, are you stupid? Please? I was just like, Gugu, please. If this is your girl, man, nah, you deserve so much better. Look at those muscles, man. I want better for you, Gugu. So that's how I felt. Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules the Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, then we come back here and talk about it. And today is the final time we're going to be talking about To Your Eternity. It has been, we'll let you know how it's been, but we're going to be finishing it up. We're going to be talking about episodes 10 through 13 and give our ratings, and some of y'all gave your ratings as well for how you think the anime should be on our list. But after we finish talking about To Your Eternity, we have a brand new anime to pick. So the way the show works is if you have an anime that you would like to suggest to us, you can donate 500 bits on Twitch or $5 super chat on YouTube. And you can suggest an anime here, put it in the chest, and then it gets picked out randomly by us here, by Matt on the show, and we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch the first 12 or 13 episodes or so and get a taste for it. Then we rank it. Then we move on. We have a ton of anime that have already been ranked that I cannot show you because that I already made the graphic for the ranked one for today. So we have a ranking list for season 2, and we're coming up on like episode 100. What are we doing for episode 100? I don't know. We got to figure
Jules
it out.
Not get isekai into their favorite animes.
We're gonna get isekai somewhere. I don't go on this anime journey
Or the
alone.
animators right now.
Yeah. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
Doing really good. I was just telling you a minute ago here how SoCal is just getting a really bad heat wave, and like right now, this next hour is like the peak of the entire heat wave. So if I do have a fan going off in here, and I'm sorry if that gives like any feedback into the audio, but I can't have stagnant air in here today, man. I'm fighting for my life.
If Matt faints, it's good content. So turn off that fan.
Hydrated. We're staying hydrated.
Yeah, stay hydrated. Stay hydrated out there. I know we don't normally do.
But I'm really excited to talk about this anime, man, and close out our thoughts on it. I have it's like I've said it, last week, the week before, and I'll say it again today. We're mostly here to talk about, this show as a piece of entertainment and how we feel it entertained us as we watched and how we feel it stands against the other anime that we've watched. But there is just the further you get into the show, I'm just saying, the more there is to just unpack into these larger than life conversations about, what it means to be human, the human condition, what it means to, find home, all of these different like types of things that kind of starts to delve into within these 4 episodes, and it's somewhat in these 4 episodes, amongst other things. I don't want to minimize it too, because again, it's really a lot.
Yeah, and thinking about all the anime that we've already watched, I love that. One, like we say all the time, all the anime that we've seen is very different, and sometimes they touch on some of those similar things where we as humans, people living on the same planet, can relate to and have so much in common with, or a story, or see yourself in a specific character or something like that. So this anime has definitely been plentiful with all of our thoughts, and plentiful with bringing out these questions and giving insight, how posing the questions, not really giving us a lot of answers, but posing a story here where the main characters are being asked these questions, or we're seeing these characters go through something and we're like, man, that sucks for him, or I'm rooting for him, or something like that. So we got to get into it because we got a lot to talk about, and we got to rate the anime. So episode 10, again, we're going through episode 10 through 13 on this show today, To Your Eternity. So what happens in episode 10, New Family?
Gugu realizes how flammable the liquor is in his belly, so he rushes back to help Fushi, only to find his tank is on E. Fushi demands that Gugu get home safely, and he rushes back to the manor to find Rin and her parents, demanding her return to their home. Gugu fills up on liquor and confesses his love for Rin before heading back to help Fushi, then defeating the plant monster. Gugu discovers Fushi as a rock before the creator turns him back into his wolf form. The creator warns Fushi that he should move on, but Fushi insists that he needs to stay because he needs Gugu. Rin gives up fighting with her parents for the same reason Gugu came back home as well. And a 4-year time skip would show us an older Gugu, Fushi, and Rin still sharing company with Pioran and the booze man at the distillery.
Okay, so we start off where we left off from the last episode because we're in this fight. Fushi is protecting Gugu, throws Gugu, tries to get him out, tries to make him leave, and then we get the intro. So, like, if that wasn't bad enough, now we have Reen's parents. They're there trying to take her back, and when Gugu gets thrown, he gets a rupture. We know later of leaking alcohol. So I did not expect this alcohol thing to be anything, but it did turn out to be Gugu's ultimate move, sort of, because then in the fight later, he ends up using his alcohol as like a flamethrower, sort of, and then just lights him on fire and stuff like that.
Fireball.
Yeah, what did you think about this fight here where Gugu, well, first off, what do you think about the whole Reen parent scene with Reen trying to not go back and then Gugu just being the funny, bringing the funny because he is drunk. That was on.
I mean, it was a funny moment, and it was a little jarring to go like from this fight scene where he's like, I'm gonna rush, I'm gonna grab the liquor, and I'm gonna get back, and that's he's saying that, so mentally that's where like I'm at. That's like I'm picturing he's gonna rush back and help Fushi, and everything's gonna be a-okay from there. But then you get this just the cut to, oh, her parents are here, and the guy that was trying to bring her back home is here, yada yada. And then you have Pioran and the booze man who are just like there, but then when Gugu leaves again, Pioran like stops them from being able to leave so quickly herself. She like physically gets in the way. And I think she knew, like we know that she knew what was going on because Gugu's acting like there's danger out there in the forest. Pioran has seen Fushi get attacked before, and she told the booze man, don't ask him any questions, go along with it. So she, I think, knew that like, hey, you guys can't leave right now because you're going into war zone, basically.
Yeah, definitely. But do you want to say hello, Cosmo? I'm here for my weekly education on anime from Poppy, Jules, and Zaddy Galley. I hope new anime have face splats in them because that is my set standard now. Oh boy, I hope so. We have quite a bit. I know nothing about these, to be honest, so I couldn't tell you. But I want to go back on what you were saying. So she stops the parents and stops them. At first, I was like, because Huron and Boozman aren't good people. They're not the greatest people. So like at the time I was like, is she stopping them because she wants to keep Reen and she knows it's best for Reen? But I think it makes more sense to you, or to the way you explained it was like, no, like she knows what's going on out there. It wasn't about her caring for Reen or trying to keep her away from her parents or anything like that. It was more so just some shit's going on out there, man. And I can't explain it to you. We're not ready, or we're not going to explain it to anybody, actually. But there's some shit going on out there and trying to protect people from getting harmed in the whole fight.
So it was a really interesting way to see the show pull them back in, because up until this point, they've just been the concept. I ran away from home, and like we see her parents send people after them, but then when they're there themselves, it kind of you feel like it's gonna bring a lot of tension, but it didn't for me. It didn't.
Yeah, it's
feel
super
like a
lighthearted
situation. It didn't feel like anything. It's just like, hey, we're here to pick up our kid, and she's just kind of like, no. And they're just like, we're not gonna go until you come with us.
What are they like? This I want to ask the question as well later on when we get to like where they're at, because during the big fight in like 2 episodes from now, they are just like in a big sort of castle on the side, or not even like that big of a castle really, but like they don't have any like army or anything. So I was like, what is their real status? Like, are they just
probably like nobles?
They're just nobles that have money. And because like, why, like, couldn't you just like send a 10 piece of people just be like with spears and be like, give us the daughter, whatever. If you had power, so that makes me think they don't have power,
Yeah.
but because like
It
they
makes
don't
me
have any
think that like
force.
they have some sort of power with the other guy that they sent. They have the money to hire somebody, but they probably don't want to, if it's just our little girl has run away into town again, do we really need to send like a small army of a bunch of, armed people? But so they probably, and it's like, on that as well, it's like that headspace of like, for them, they probably want to convince her to come home instead of force her to come home, but they don't really know better. It seems like they care about her, but they don't know how to care for her as a person.
Dang, bro. Yep.
Like we
I mean,
we
that's true.
want you to be safe, but like again, it's the whole thing of like she's in this boat of I want freedom, and to them being safe means to have most of those freedoms taken away because we have everything already lined up and figured out for you.
And we're giving you like in their head, they're just like, we're giving you everything. Why are you running away? We give you everything that you would ever want. And to them, it's like maybe they didn't have any of that stuff growing up, or they didn't come, you know, well, if they're nobles, they might have been born into it. But like it makes me think, looking at their characters from the outside, like, hey, I worked for this for you to have a better life. So I'm giving you everything. I'm giving you the better life. And then she just actively like, no, I don't want it. And they're like, what do you mean? Like they don't get it. And
Mhm.
it's really interesting to see them come back in the picture. Like you were saying, I didn't think we were gonna like get this whole scene, and they just kind of showed up during this fight. I'm like, okay, here. And it was pretty nice to have some levity here with all the crazy antics, and he confesses his love for her, and he's drunk and all that stuff, whatever.
He's like,
um
I don't know what's going on. I don't know anything about her getting engaged, but I love her more. So
I gotta talk
peace.
about,
I'm gonna go. You can't stop me. He
yeah,
was just
exactly.
he was just living.
I gotta talk about something big in this episode because finally Fushi turned back to a rock. I
We
knew it was
we
coming.
did get rock
We
form.
get Rock Fushi. He took all the other stuff is gone. Oh my god, crazy fight, fire everywhere, all this stuff. Fushi is a rock, bro. I knew it was coming. Ah, I'm so happy to finally see. I was like, I was like, Leo Point. Oh my god. His transformations came back to him, and Google cooks for everybody. And Fushi talks to his creator and wants Fushi to leave. He gives him some information about the knockers, who we have an official name for, the tree beings, are beings that are after Fushi. And he's saying you can't gain any, pretty much, you can't gain anything from staying here. You are not
You
acquiring or
It's like when you're playing
what's
an MMO and you've maxed out your level in the zone. It's like you gotta go to the next zone, bro. You're not
yeah,
getting any more XP. Residual or diminishing returns. Diminishing
yeah.
returns. You've soaked up everything there is to see here. You cannot grow more.
But he doesn't want to leave. He can't leave Gugu. He's made a connection with Gugu, his little group, his little posse. And then we get the time skip, which I was not expecting at all. We get a time skip of 4 years. Gugu gets buff. Fushi can cook. Fushi talks well. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting it, but I'm like, this is where it was headed. He was gonna get buffed. This is gonna be me in 2 years. Watch me. And then we get the Fushi can cook, he can talk. Now we have some changes here. Now we can tell like a more complex story, because up until
Yeah.
now we had a main character that couldn't really communicate as well. He still didn't really know what was going on, but now he's acquired skills. He
Mhm.
knows what's going on. He knows how to communicate well, so it's really exciting.
And
Um,
I love the idea that like he well, it's gonna more get into the next episode, but the whole idea that like he decides not to transform and he just, acts
yeah,
in his one form for like those entirety of the 4 years, and like he grows. So he grows and like he starts to like, get a little bit of facial hair. He's like, why is there hair on my face?
yeah, like what is this? So they explained it as well, that his body, since he didn't transform, his body aged like a normal human at that age. So he did go 4 years, possibly puberty. I don't know. So whatever form that is, but it goes away later on anyways. Episode 11, Gift from the Past. What happens in episode 11?
Fushi doesn't transform a single time over the next 4 years, wanting to experience life as everyone else does. Gugu's older brother returns with Gugu telling him to get lost. His brother leaves his ring to the others with Rin, realizing that Gugu was the same kid selling veggies in the market, then giving him a heated invitation to her birthday party. The booze man gives Gugu a new mask, and Gugu and Fushi head to the birthday party, picking up a present along the way. Gugu is treated very poorly by everyone at the party except for Reen, who goes rushing after him after he leaves once her prearranged marriage is announced. Reen and Gugu's moment is quickly interrupted as the creator tells Fushi the knockers have arrived.
Oh no. So we get all the information you said. Fushi hasn't transformed, his body aged as a normal person. Um Reen, the information that Reen has to get married when she becomes 16. It's her birthday, the whole birthday party thing. Um, Reen makes Gugu a crayfish mask. We see like this little sort of possibly still jealousy from Gugu as they're doing needlework. Reen and Fushi are doing needlework. And that
I
was
don't,
kind of like
I don't, was it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it was because it was unresolved. So in the beginning, Reen and Fushi are having a good time, doing needlework. They're like making stuff. It's fun and jokes, fun and laughs and stuff. And then uh Gugu sort of looks at them and he has a weird look. So that's what I thought it was that he was like a little jealous.
I think he might be like just reflecting because I don't think it's jealousy at this point because to me I think Rain sees Fushi as like this as a kid. You know, I don't think like she had a crush on him initially, like oh the cute guy that works at the store, but it's like I think that was completely surface level, and now is like especially right before right as this time skip comes to an end, we get her discovering Gugu is actually the kid at the market. I don't think it's trying to set anything up with that, but I think initially it was supposed to be like the sear in the arm, so that way he would start getting motivated to get to the point where he's at now, where he's like, I'm gonna get buff, man. I ain't gonna. If this happens again, I'm just gonna flex, and if nothing else happens, then I'm gonna just call it a night.
I got
So
these, baby.
without that initial spark of jealousy, we wouldn't have him like that post time skip.
Sure. Gugu's brother, Shin, if I remember, his brother comes back. And that's another thing. What was that?
I said, we don't say his name.
Yeah, whatever his name is. Fuck this dude. But like this is like the first question as well that, you know, gets proposed here as humans. I mean, maybe we have frayed connections to family members, to friends, to I don't know, somebody that meant a lot in your life and they betrayed you sort of. And now after all these years, we find out his brother's doing better. He has regrets. He wants to start over and Gugu doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want anything he's selling. He's like, I gave it up. I gave you the ring and I'm done with you. Like that's you're in the past. And he's trying to come back because he's family. So then like it poses in you where it's like, what would you do? What would I do? And it's difficult to say. Like it's difficult to be
it's
like
difficult to say, but like I mean, when I try to put myself in Gugu's shoes, like for the sake of that thought, it's like my guy, you left me for dead with nothing.
There is some lines.
Nothing. Not even like enough money to buy myself lunch the next day. Like he took everything and just left. Like
There is some lines that were crossed there.
Like yeah, absolutely in the zone where it's like you can redeem yourself, but I don't think he should ever forgive you. Like sure, you can become a better person and you can try to like, you know,
love that for you.
Yeah, love that for you. But that's great for you. Don't bring that energy back to him because he doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve to have to try to go through whatever it is he would have to go through to forgive you and bring himself to a point where he could trust you again, because that's gone. Yeah.
I feel like there could have been, if he didn't do what he did and he did something lesser, then it could have been like, okay, maybe, after all this time, maybe I've gotten over it, and here we are, and I'm ready with maybe an arm extended very far away, but maybe I'm ready to
Yeah,
have you come back.
I could see a world where like in like because he noticed a little money gone, and it's like, what if like a little more money was gone, and then a little more money was gone, and then eventually like he finds like some paper or something that shows that like he's been doing like some betting thing. I don't know, betting on
Sure.
chicken fights and stuff.
Oh
And it's
shit, let
like
me get in.
bro, you've been betting on chicken fights when we should like this is how much money you've actually been like if it was like that type of situation, and then Gugu takes off different, but his brother left him in the dirt with absolutely nothing to his
Sure.
name. So like that's to me where there's just like,
But
whoa.
yeah, I hear you. And to play devil's advocate, he is his only bloodline that
Yeah.
he has. So he is the brother that, while it ended wrong, but he did take care of him, and he is the only one. Like, how close it may be in Gugu's head, or in his brother's head or something, there could be an argument to say, how close can you possibly be to these people that pseudo take advantage of you when I'm your brother, your blood, the person that should be here for you and here with you through life. And now I have the means to help you, and I want to help. So I understand, and I'm on your side as well, where it's like, no, this is too much. But like, there is an argument to say, like, if you and a family member were estranged, and it's like, is it past my point? Is it past my breaking point where it's like, nah, man, I got to cut you off. This ain't it. Or you got to weigh what it was and then be like, you know what? Yeah, let's try and fix this or work it out. Kalen says, plus him ending drunk and starving in an alley was a nail in the coffin of the betrayal. Exactly. He didn't even become, it was for nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing that he saw of him, and was like, you know what? I'm out. He was fine. Gugu was fine with him if he died, because that's sort of like the last thing he saw was drunk in an alley, most likely no money, no food, really skinny, and he's like, "You know what? My brother's dead to me." So that's kind of what it was. And
Yeah.
then for him to come back to try and put all this on Gugu and be like, "Yo man, my life's good
Why
now."
he definitely had that mindset of my brother is dead to me, and that's why he gave him the new ring. He's like, take this ring and find a new life.
Definitely.
Find one where you can live.
I really like Gugu. Really like Gugu.
Yes.
But I I really wish he would have chosen better, because Reen is a dumb girl. Because Reen didn't know this whole time the ring. Gugu is the one that Reen. Are you stupid? Please. I was just like, Gugu, please. If this is your girl, man, nah, you deserve so much better. Look at those muscles, man. I want better for you, Gugu. So that's how I felt during the whole Reen thing, because Reen wants Gugu to make a move. And then Reen sort of connects the dots for 4 years, 4+ years. Come on, Reen. Or come on, Gugu. Do better. Well, I mean,
Both of
she's
them.
rich. Both of them. Just come on. Come on, man. Um
Especially like she waited so long to like bring up the whole like, you said you loved me. Like, what was that? And then he's like, I don't remember that happening. And it's like
yeah.
4 years later we
Like,
finally were
y'all didn't talk about it? Y'all didn't talk about this whole time? Hello, Frey. Hello, hello. I don't know if I have the bot on Twitch, but I stream on YouTube now, this podcast. We got to get going. We don't have a whole lot of time. New mask that blows fire. Oh my god, this is so cool. I really do like the mask though.
has like
It's
the little Flint striker in it already, which is super dope.
yeah.
And it's like, it's the perfect opportune time for him to be getting a permanent upgrade, so to speak,
Yeah, and
because
it's
of plot.
Reen meets her husband to be. Gugu doesn't like change. Finally tells Reen how his face happened. I just put Reen is just dumb. It was a really touching moment, honestly. I really did like this moment here. And I
The
could
way the
not.
music swells,
The music
bro.
is so good.
I was so in the moment.
Oh my god, it was just great. And I was like, finally, here we are. The love story that we wanted, and then something completely out of left field, he just breaks. Gugu falls into the ocean. I was like, "What?"
Mhm.
This surprised me so much, and
It
then
surprised
the
me for
knockers
sure,
are
but
back.
then the second he's the what's his name, the creator, tells Fushi the knockers have arrived, I was like, it's literally been waiting for the moment, the chance it had to split them up, and it just had the chance.
That's crazy.
That's 4 years of waiting.
Frey been 3 years, I checked. Oh my god,
Almost
I've
as long
been
as the knockers waited.
yeah, almost as long. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for following for 3 years. Holy cow. Let's get into episode 12, Awakening. What happens in episode 12 of the anime To Your Eternity?
With the roots of the knockers spread throughout the region over the past 4 years, it begins to wreak havoc, having Gugu and Fushi split up. Fushi helps the building evacuate, but after it collapses, the knockers gain the form of Oniguma and leaving Fushi unsure how to deal with the problem. Gugu is able to weaken its form, causing the core to retreat, and Gugu and Fushi believe it ran away. But it repositions and strikes at Fushi again, stealing March's form. Green saves a distraught Gugu from being crushed by Oniguma, and as they attempt to escape, the rest of the building collapses on them. Fushi is struck with pain that isn't his own as Gugu holds up all the rubble from crushing Green and himself. As they profess their love and embrace each other, Fushi is stricken with overwhelming pain as he transforms into Gugu. Fushi blasts Oniguma over and over again with fire before being knocked into the ocean, Oniguma giving chase, hitting the water, and exploding on contact. The knocker's core flees across the ocean, and everyone grieves the loss of Gugu as Fushi departs, and Rain is left knowing her love is gone but not forgotten.
Why'd they have to do that?
They really did it to
They
us.
really did it to us again, bro. So we got the whole
I mean, it was very what's the word? It was very foreshadowed, his death over and over again. Even like in
well,
the last episode, I think, you had the booze man going like, "Oh my god, it's such a shame I'm gonna die before him. I just want to see him have a normal life. That's what I want for him. It's so
I
great that
want
he's gonna live to have a normal life." And I'm just like, okay, I get it.
uh,
But still,
I
it
took
still
that
hit.
I took that more as him like finally showing emotion. Because we haven't really seen them two. Like the Booze Man and Piorin, they show some, but it's more to their own interest. And I thought that was really interesting. And I didn't connect it to this at all. So I was just thinking about it as him as a character, as him finally admitting to himself and admitting to Piorin there who's listening, like, man, I really want better for this kid and I really want him to do better and go and grow and become an adult. And I'm sad I'm not going to see him as an adult, which is a common feeling you would think from a
Again,
parental figure.
we're hitting those, that's a common feeling,
And it's like, yeah, and me as a viewer, I'm like, yeah, I want to see Gugu grow. I want to see him go out and adventure with Fushi. And I want them to be a cool little tag team, you know? And
Oh my
let's go.
goodness.
The knocker that comes is huge, spread its roots under the castle. Gugu saves Reen's parents, and now the knocker's version of Oniguma is stone. So we find out subtly that it can adapt, sort of, that it has adapted from the last fight 4 years ago. It's grown, and now is like, you ain't gonna get me with that same shit like last time. I'm gonna be stone. Here we go. Fire, nothing. No big deal. Gugu burns its insides. Reen saves Gugu. Gugu is holding all of the stone, all of the rubble from killing Reen. Those muscles came in handy, bro. And he's there with his girl, and she's like, "Is that heavy?" And he's like, "No, I'm good. Yeah, we're fine. Just here, casually." Gugu tells Reen he loves her. They kiss, and I honestly, up until the moment it happened, I didn't want it to. I mean, well, I don't want it to still, but I didn't really think it would. But this show is what it is. We're gonna keep meeting
Yeah.
people. We're gonna keep losing people, and I just didn't want it to happen because of the connection to Fushi. He was
Mm-hmm.
Gugu was a really cool character.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think they would have been cool together. And I was like, they can't just do it like that, right? Like we really got a time skip. We got him expressing his love, and we have these two characters that are going to love and be together, whether I care about Reen or not. Gugu does, and I want them to be together. And I was just like, this is not how it works.
In the back of my head, yeah, I just keep reminding myself, show's about Fushi. The show's about Fushi. We start with
And
Fushi, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna end with Fushi wherever the
only
show
Fushi.
goes.
Um, the real this was probably the best way to show it as well was Fushi saying, "This is not my pain. Whose pain it is, or whose pain is it?" And um, did anyone else continue watching past episode 13? What's
I
up, Dan?
will, spoiler, I will, but I
Yeah,
haven't yet, and because I wanted to keep my thoughts focused for what we're going to talk about today. But
yeah. Kaylin has seen all 2 seasons of it, and we probably will continue with me watching it for the first time. But the best way that they can show it, I don't need to see Gugu dying. Like seeing him like get collapsed on, that hurts. That's fine. That could have been a way to do it. But to see Fushi just turn into Gugu, and
yeah, exactly.
that hurt
Yeah,
more. I was like, that's the best way they could have done that. It's just him automatically turn into Gugu and be like, what the fuck? What
and the,
happened?
and the
And that
breakdown
was
he starts to have is just like you that him the denial, because now we finally have Fushi to a point where they're, for lack of a better term, I guess they're mostly developed human being, in terms of like their mental cognitive capacity. And now we get to see like when they lost March, they still were very infantile, so to speak. But now it's like you're a person, you've grown, you're experiencing life. He's spent 4 years with this person that he's gotten to grow closer to, and then in an instant he, like, all those things where he was learning, what does it mean to die, all of those previous conversations like get brought full circle in that moment where he finally has to understand what death means, what it means to lose somebody that you love.
Mhm.
Because he cared about March, but I don't really think that he loved March as, like, as much as he
Yeah.
loves Gugu, in terms of just being fully developed, because his love for
Uh,
March is the same way that, again, like a toddler loves their parent.
and doesn't have the concept of um someone being there and them having an influence on the world or influence on your life and then being taken away. And now he does have that, hey, this person was with me for 4 years and we have memories and we did things together, and now I will never do those things again. And that person will, everything changes. And he's feeling all that in this scene, and he's like, what does that mean? Like he's just it was a
Yeah.
lot. This was the hardest part in the anime so far for me. Um,
I agree.
but the cool thing is that Gugu got powers, so that means Fushi has powers now. So
He just so happened to get his flint and steel mask, and he
yeah,
probably filled up on a belly of liquor recently. So
he
now
did. He
anytime
said that
Fushi, yeah, so now anytime Fushi transforms
he has a
into
belly full.
Gugu, he's got a belly full of super premium liquor.
Hell
He's
yeah.
just ready to go, just like how we saw with everything else. Like, it's that state that they were in right as they passed. That's what he transforms into them as.
Ugh. The water stopped the knocker. It escaped. Now we have to travel east, or the knocker traveled east, escaping with a part of Fushi that he doesn't know, but he has, or the knocker does have, um, what is it? March's form,
March and Oniguma.
March and Oniguma's form. Um, the the sadness just keeps on coming because Gugu's brother shows up. Everybody cries for him. Fushi ends up leaving. So another
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Fushi
It kind of confused me a little bit.
Fushi being like, I mean, it played well for like a funny moment, but the way that it just kept carrying on. The moment I'm talking about is when Rin comes back, and
Yeah.
then Fushi instantly turns into Gugu, and she's like, "Oh my god, yes, you made it." One, I wanted Rin to die as well because that would have been super poetic, and I don't know if I like Rin still living on. I would have liked it more if they both died together. That would have
I
been
agree.
cool to have them spirits live on, and that would have been more satisfying for me. But I
Mhm.
get it; they don't want to satisfy me; they want to crush me and make me cry.
Yep.
But yep. But the way that Fushi was just like, "Hey, it's me." Yeah, Fushi died. I'm sorry. So like that whole
Hey
thing, and he
guys,
was like, "Why am I
Zuko
me?"
here. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. He was like, "Why am I me? Why did I do that? What's
I,
that?" And they
in
kept
that
going on.
moment, was that like, because that's what, and you almost like there, it sounded like there's an echo of voices over each other. So is that like Gugu's old insecurities, like making its way into Fushi for a moment? Because that's what Gugu used to always say, like, why am I me? Like, why am I the one living this life? And then yeah, in that moment, like it sounded like there's an echo of the. So
I don't
I don't
know.
know, but like that whole ending sequence like threw me for a loop a little bit. I watched it a few times back, and I'm pretty sure I got what the show's where the show was going with it, what they were trying to convey. But yeah, just still for me, a little bit of a question mark.
Kalen says he didn't want her to see him in his younger Fushi form. Yeah, because
So because he was
he was trying to
still,
protect that. Yeah.
yeah.
But then you're talking about after when he is Gugu, and then he's like, "Why am I me?" I don't know. I don't know. But that whole
It could have been
ending,
Fushi questioning that, but you know, maybe I'm looking into it too much.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fushi says as Gugu that Fushi has died to keep his secret and to protect her, and then Fushi goes off and he leaves, and this is sort of the end of the arc. I don't know why I told us that this episode 13 was the end of the arc, but I really like that we are going to talk about how it ends, where Fushi goes, and the start of something new, a new adventure. So episode 13, aspiring to go higher. What happens in episode 13?
Excuse me. Fushi attempts to process all of this information and asks the creator more questions, unsatisfied with any answers that are provided, as Fushi is falling into depression over the loss of Gugu. Fushi runs into Pioran and realizes that he has to get stronger in order to protect the people that he cares about. Fushi realizes that they're forgetting someone important, as the creator points out that they are finally realizing something that's missing and that it's hard to remember once it's gone. Pioran plans to take Fushi across to another country where they can train so that Fushi can become a more versatile fighter, but they're tricked into boarding a slave ship. And upon arrival to a prison island, Fushi is able to slip away from the rest of the riffraff and run into a group that give him the insight on how to save a now missing Pioran to win the tournament in the arena.
Hell
And we
yeah.
are so fucking back.
We are so back, bro. Tournament arc, the least expected thing to come from this anime, and I'm like, we're leaving off on the tournament arc. I gotta see that. So Fushi walks for 4 days, and Fushi talks with his maker, asks, "What am I?" And we get information from the maker that the knockers want to control Fushi because of what he can do. One day the maker will not be there, which was really interesting for him to say. That Fushi is a critical part of what he wants to achieve. So, what do you make of this maker, this thing that's saying these things like you are part of this, and they want to control you because of what you can do? And
what I
someday I'm
find
not going to be there.
what I find more interesting than him not say that what I find more interesting than him saying that one day he's not going to be there is when he brings up the whole idea that, like, you know, if Fushi turns into fruit. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Turns into fruit. And
Yeah,
he turns him back out of it. And he goes, you know, if they find you like that, they're just going to have their way with you and you'll turn back into an orb. And it's like, I'm okay with that. But is that okay? But I don't think you'll like that because, like, and then you stop and realize that, like, yeah, it's like if they take those things, like let's say they take the things away from him and he turns back into orb or even rock because he can't do anything else, and then he
Sure.
starts getting new stimulations to like kind of regain the process again. It's an entirely different being at this point, because what's making Fushi is all of the experiences that those individual beings are getting along the way, with the biggest one being like the boy form, because that's where he's been learning to like read and write, but it's been developing the other forms too. So if he loses Fushi, even the boy form, does that maybe mean that he loses some of his like cognitive capabilities and stuff like that, because he's forgetting about everything? The way the show represents it is like these little cutouts of white, where like the moment's kind of coming back to him, but he can't remember the person there. So it just really, for me, it begs the question, like, yeah, it like, not begs the question, but it's really interesting to think about how, if he turns back into that orb and goes down a different path, yeah, it's totally different story, totally different Fushi. And I
So
don't know if Fushi is processing that in that moment, but it'd be
sure.
really interesting to see that.
So then that brings me to a question: where does the maker want him to keep going and stay alive because he sees that it's a good path, and maybe in the past there was other orbs that went down a bad path, and he's like, no, 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 you're doing good, like you're doing well, you're learning things, you got cognition, and you are morally neutral good, lawful good maybe, and I want to keep that. So don't let them do this. So that's what I feel like is doing. He's like, I don't want to start over with a whole new being and then possibly being bad, or turning on me, or whatever maybe has come in the past. He's like, no, you're doing well. This is the one I want. You could be the one that does it. And
You're
please don't
essential
let
to
them.
my plans at this point. It's
Yes.
just, it's really interesting to wrap my brain around the whole, you could turn it, you could turn back to orb and go down a different path. I'm okay with that, but are you okay with that? But also the one day I'm not going to be here. It's like, if you're okay with him going back to orb form, but one day you're not going to be here, isn't there like some sort of ticking clock? So why don't you care if the clock gets reset, so to speak? That's where I'm like, why doesn't he care, so to speak? Even though he's happy with the results they're getting, but he's kind of just like, I'm more indifferent if you completely lose. But at the same time, he's essential to like his plans. Like, that's where I'm just like, what? So
Yeah.
it's like, I understand there's more to the show, and those answers are probably gonna be
Coming up.
provided, but in the interaction, it's not confusing, but just it, because like I'm following it the whole time. Like, there's no part where I'm outright confused, but I guess I question the motivations.
Sure. And I think they will get into it in later episodes, hopefully, because we've already gotten a lot in 13 episodes. So I'm like, okay, I have faith that they would. Kalen says he'd maybe be starting over if he loses everything and goes back to Orb. Yeah, I just want more information. That's the story
Roguelike
that I
run.
want. Yeah, I just want to know about them, the maker. Um, so where am I? Let's see. Fushi tells Pioran about his creator, and he's forgotten March. When he's near things, he feels what they feel, pain and suffering. So he feels like, we get that information now, that whenever things are dying or beings are in pain, that he feels them whenever they're around him. So that makes sense why he felt the pain of Gugu. And now we know another trait that he has. They board a ship, they get led to the wrong boat and get captured, headed to Jananda Island, which is a prison island. They meet a group of kids, or he meets a group of kids. The one that led him to the island. He had a very smart idea about killing the owl, because he's like, if I kill the owl, I can turn it to the owl, hopefully. But then they're like,
That was really
no.
smart, but again, it's like there's already a previous shot of like the owl kind of like circling overhead a few times, and I was like, oh, somebody's watching him.
Yeah,
Like, that's
definitely.
me. Like, so when he's aiming at it, I'm like, are they just gonna watch that happen? And then they stop it. I'm like, there you go.
There it is. The way to get off the island is to make your wish come true. You got to beat the tournament to escape and save Pioran. And we get Fushi,
Oh,
most likely going. What's up?
like had a lag for a sec.
Oh,
I'm
we
hearing.
have Fushi going towards that. So tournament arc maybe incoming. We'll never know. I don't know because that's the end. We are done talking about To Your Eternity. Now we got to rate it on our three categories here: animation, storytelling, and vibes. And we have our thoughts, my thoughts, Matt's thoughts, and then some of y'all voted to put them all together, and we get a final ranking for the anime. So let's talk about To Your Eternity, the animation. How did you feel about the animation and what would you rate it?
For the animation, I'm going to be giving it an A. Animation, it was a very consistently animated show. There
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of moments that like took me out. There were a few things that I caught where it's like, oh, they took the shortcut there, they took the shortcut there, but it's like it was never like that. Like I can just remember it happening a few times, but other than the one bit of when the Oniguma rock bear, is like jumping into the water and it's just completely still getting closer. Like
Yeah. That
that,
was
like
really funny. I remember
like I
laughing.
laughed at it exactly. So like but like there's not a lot like that. It's very consistently animated and it looks good. We get to see so many different environments and we're going on this like
I love that.
globe trotting journey where we're discovering the world for the first time, this world for the first time, alongside a protagonist who is also discovering the world for a first time. And I think the show captures that really well in the animation and the art style that it went with. And just I love the closer reaction face shots that we get of people. Everybody gets their moment to have a shine, except for Gugu after his face gets crushed.
Well,
So yeah, I'm giving it an A. Jules, where are you gonna rate To Your Eternity on animation?
I'm gonna rate it an A as well. I agree with you in a lot of the things that you said where it was good. It looked pretty. In some points it was not as great, but still wasn't terrible. I did enjoy sometimes when they dove into like those little anime um I don't know what they're called, like the little when things get chibi or when things
Yeah,
get silly, like I don't know, anime tropes where animation can be a certain way and it's like, oh, that's the funny thing or that's the mad thing whenever they have the little ball when they're crying and big old nose snot or
and
whatever.
even just the things like how they were able to still emote Gugu through his mask and stuff
I
by
love
making his
that.
mask emote and stuff like that. When his steam starts rising
So
out because
good.
he got complimented by Reen or whatever. Like just they have fun with it and consistently for sure.
I really like that even though there was a masked character, you they didn't really shy away from giving him personality. Even though we can't see his face, it's just went really well. His mouth would open and I would laugh. It's just funny when his mouth's open, he's like, ah, or like, like you were saying, the hard eyes or anything like that. So I really liked their characterization of Gugu and giving him personality with it. I guess the reason I'm not giving it an S is just there wasn't really spectacular about it. It was really good and really solid, and I really
You
liked
felt
the
really safe at times, I guess, is
it
what
felt safe.
Yeah.
And I really do like the tapestries, like you were saying, that they were giving us because we're discovering this world and seeing so many new locations just in 13 episodes. But it's like there wasn't something super spectacular. I wouldn't say, oh man, you got to see To Your Eternity because of the animation. It was just really solid. So I think I would give it an A. Storytelling. What did you think about the storytelling? What would you rate it?
Storytelling, I'm giving it an A. I'm giving it an A on storytelling because of the very, solid story that it was able to tell front to back from the episodes that we watched. It held really great in terms of its continuity. Like it always felt like things were building upon each other. The momentum and the pacing of the story I felt like was great. It knew when it needed to kind of put its foot down on the gas and when it wanted to like pump the brakes a little bit and take some more time to explore the characters. It's a very dynamic narrative in my opinion because of the narrative concept itself, giving life from like nothing and seeing what that life can achieve. It's a very intriguing concept on its own for me that can go far, and the show is able to do things that are really great with it. What keeps it away from being an S, I guess, are the few like nitpicks that we've had with like how we wish Rain would have probably gone past with Gugu in that moment for the poetic nature of that. I wish that the whole Fushi and pulling one over on Reen that he's Gugu and leaving, like that could have been handled a little bit better. Reen not realizing over the course of 4 years that Gugu was the kid that in the market and stuff like that. Like the kid in the market just so happened to disappear at the same time that I met this other, you know, same age kid in the town where there's doesn't seem to be a lot of kids around. Anyways, yeah, animation for the story that I was I'm sorry, storytelling. Going to be giving it an A because I just really enjoyed it front to back, and it had insanely good emotional beats as well. If I were to just rate it on terms of like emotional beats, it'd be an S because man, it hit some emotional points for me. And that's not going to be the true for everybody. So I just that's how I feel. Jules, where are you going to rate To Your Eternity for its storytelling?
I'm gonna give it an A as well. I really did like how we started off. Man, if it gave me all of that episode one just over and over, like I really loved how they started with a self-contained story, and we just move on and we get all this information about the where we're at, what we're doing, and they really start us off and play to their own limitations. Nothing where the story was like, well, can that really work? Does that really work? It's like, no, we lay out these rules and here we are. And now we're playing in this rule set that we made. And I really like that. I think a lot of my, well, one, I did like the Fushi arc, really love that stuff. I think a lot of I wasn't as connected to the whole March arc. I just really I don't think I felt as much as I should have during that whole March arc. And I didn't really like it. I liked the characters and I liked where we ended up for sure, but there was just some stuff in there where I was just like, I don't know if I care as much as they want me to. And when they finally went on to this, and I'm like, oh my god, the whole Gugu, Reen, all that stuff. We spent some time with some characters. I was like, yes, this is great. Now I care about them, and now that whole Gugu Reen thing at the end gave me so much because I spent so much time with these characters. I think really I just um the connector between episode one and Gugu arc, somewhere in there, I didn't really like it as much. It was solid,
I didn't
like you
like
said.
it as much in retrospect, like as we're like looking back on it, but as we were going through it, I didn't not like it. It's just when we got to this arc, the Gugu arc, I was just like, oh, this is really good. Like I
Yeah.
really like this, and I
Hmm.
wasn't sure. Like we were both talking about like, oh, we don't really know how we feel like
Hmm.
completely, but we kind of like. I was really on board with a lot of the concepts and stuff, and I think this arc was really where I was able to show that this concept can be done well,
Hmm.
and you can have those rewarding moments.
Yeah, definitely. So I gave it an A. Because I don't know if it was as consistent for me, and I really like some parts. I'm like really vibing with it, but then it's like, I don't know if I like the whole thing. Um, some arcs, and I'm sure if I continue it, I'll be like, that was okay. Nah, that was great, or that was all right. Where do you rate it on vibes? What would you give it for vibes?
Vibes. I'm giving it an S because S tier vibes, and not in funny, silly, haha way vibes, but vibes in just the way that like I found myself growing on these characters. I found them growing on me. I loved them. I enjoyed just, we've said it before, I just enjoyed watching these characters like interact with each other. If the show had given us a whole arc on the time skip and not even done a time skip, I would have been okay with that. Just like give us that bridge
Sure.
between the times and show us everything that happens. I know it's not going to be the most exciting stuff, and we got to stick to the story so it doesn't. But man, I wish that I could have had more time with the characters that we get to meet. And there is even a little bit of teasing at like, something going on in this universe with like life after death, as Gugu's ghost and March's ghost kind of like see each other for a moment, or their
Hmm.
spirits, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the show managed to really capture my like imagination in a way that I haven't felt shows captured in a while, where it was just like really really got me thinking on a lot of concepts and things that just most shows don't even try to even come near touching in terms of subject matter. So that's why it's an S for me, is because I can't think of any other show that in recent memory, at least, that's like given me such an existential exploration.
Sure. And I'll jump in here with mine. I think
Yes.
that is the reason why I didn't give it an S. I'm giving it, for vibes, I gave it an A because I love the characters. I really did love this Gugu arc, and I really love the characters that we met, that we got to spend time with, and all that stuff. Um, but it continues to break my heart.
That's
Like
yeah,
we
exactly.
got sort
So
of connected to March. They did a wonderful first episode. I can't tell you how good of a first episode it was, and we instantly lose a character, and there's blood in a lot of it, and there's pain
there's
and
blood and pain,
grief.
and yet it never feels violence.
It doesn't feel violent, no. But like I liked the characters, and it feels like as I'm watching, there's just someone in the corner of my eye dressed in black and a black cloak saying, one of these people are going to die, and then we're going to have to move on. And as far as a vibe, I don't know if I want that when I'm watching. And I don't know, it would be hard if I didn't have somebody saying, we're going to watch this, to put myself through it and to keep going. And like, while it does pose all these questions, I'm like, the people that I'm going to see are going to die sometime. And that's just not something I want. And like, I have that in life. And I'm like, I don't want to continue to watch something and get close to somebody when they're for sure guy back here somewhere, like we're following Fushi. And so like, so he's going through his life, and it's like, oh man, like it was constant for me. Like, they can't do that. They're not going to kill a kid. They're not going to kill March, and they're not going to go for Gugu. He's strong, and we spent so much time with Gugu, and it's just, uh it hurts. It's really good. I'm not
Give
saying
me
it's
that hurt.
bad. It just
Give me a full
hurts.
glass of that hurt.
No, I'm
Go.
done. I'm full. I'm full of hurt. Please stop. I'm served. So I think that's why I was just like, I don't know if I want to keep going with it. I love it, but now that we know it's happened many times already, we know what's going to happen. And I don't know if knowing, like, that's that, like putting your hand in the fire even though you know it's hot, and like as a kid you're like, yay, whatever, and then you know not to. But in saying like, hey, this is hot, you still have to touch it though. And it's like, I don't know if I want to do that, but it'll give me food or something. I don't know what, fuck that analogy. But like
No,
it
I totally like where you were going with that. I don't know
yeah.
what it is for me. It's just like there's something about when it's able to do it tastefully, and it doesn't feel like it's like in bad spirit where the show just wants you to be sad for the sake of it. It's like, yeah, this is sad, but it's like, why is it sad? And that's
Mhm.
why, like, that's why I think that's why it resonates with me, and that's what knocks it up to the S, is that like is being able for me to like engage with that. That's why I say it's like for me it's a S ranking on vibes in a totally different way, not happy,
Sure.
fun, silly vibes, but in a, you know, more thought-provoking existential type of way. But that's sometimes that's what you want. Sometimes it's you sometimes you don't want any of that. And that's, you know, there's totally okay to be anywhere,
I
lie
you
anywhere on
know
that spectrum.
you know what I want? Tournament arc. Fuck me up, fam. Let's
That's
do it.
right when I,
um
yeah, right when I saw the bracket, I got hype, and I was like,
yeah,
I know Jules is hype for
I
that.
was like,
Yeah, fits up.
uh, Cosmo says, I want Matt's shirt. 500 bits on Twitch, and I don't know. We'll send it to you. JK. So those are our rankings for the anime, and you have submitted some rankings as well, and those get contabulated into the final ranking. And for To Your Eternity, we are rating this anime an A rank anime. Oh my goodness.
And the crowd goes wild.
It's good. field goal or whatever, football terms. To Your Eternity is a rank A anime. Here it is on the list. We have now caught up to the S rank. So we have the same amount of S and A rank. So we've been seeing a
Very
lot of
top
pretty good,
heavy.
very top heavy. We've been watching a lot of good anime. Kaylin's mad because yeah, she really liked it.
I did too.
Best place to the
A
best
is
place
still
left
good.
on. Yeah, it's still
A is
good.
recommend for me. If it's an A or S tier, I'm like, yeah, watch this. If it's an S tier, it's like, yeah, if you like anime, you're gonna like this. If it's
I
A tier, it's like if you like this genre outside of anime, this is a good way to get into it, you know?
Yeah, she says S plus. I think the way that I would say it would be that S ranked animes on our list for me would be like I'm actively telling someone, "Hey, go watch this." Whereas A rank animes are where if someone says, "Hey, I'm thinking about watching this," I would say, "Yeah, watch it. I saw it. It was good." So I
Mhm.
think that's how I would say S versus A as far as the rankings. S, I'm actively going, "You need to see this," and A is like, "Yes, I would. If you're going to watch it, I definitely say you should."
Yeah.
So that's how I think about it there. But we are done talking about To Your Eternity. It has been an hour. We got to find a new anime here. So in the chest, we have tons of anime. They're in Matt's anime chest there. We have tons of anime to choose from. If you like to get an anime, put it in the chest, 500 bits on Twitch or $5 super chat on YouTube, and then just put that in there. Hello, Joker. Hello, John. What if solo leveling with a $5 super chat? You can put in solo leveling into our thing. So we have a ton of them that are suggested by the community. Ton of them have been in there for a while. All of these, some of them are put in by me, some of them are put in by Matt, but mostly y'all. And the next anime that we're going to watch together is, I hope it's good. Please. What is it?
Bartender, Glass of God.
Woo! That's a cheating one. That one I just put that one in
You
last
just
week or
put that
something.
one in.
Bartender Glass of God. It's a brand new
They're all
anime.
right there.
Yeah, well, it was random. They are there. Dang. Bartender Glass of God is a brand new anime that just came out. I think they did the first season is 12 episodes.
Yeah,
We're
that's
gonna
a
watch.
new one. Might be
Yeah,
the
it's
newest anime that we've ever covered
the newest anime that
recently.
because
Recency type deal.
it just came out. So Bartender Glass of God. Watch episode 1 through 4, and we'll be back here next Wednesday. We're gonna watch 1 through 4, and we are gonna talk about it. Are we gonna get our thoughts? We want you to give us your thoughts about the anime. So this is kind of like an anime book club where we watch the anime together and we rank it, we talk about it, give our thoughts, and maybe it's your next favorite anime, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a good one. I don't know. But that's the goal. Matt, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on my socials. Just follow me on YouTube at Matt_Galley or on my Twitter or Instagram at 9ts at the front. Make it's Matt_Galley. Jules, when we're not here having existential crises, where can the people find you?
You can find me in the gym or on YouTube or on Instagram at JulesTheHuman at JULES the human on all social media. I've been posting a lot of Instagram stories. That's mainly what I do. I just post Instagram stories now. I don't know if I'm gonna create more content or anything, but check out the podcast here on YouTube and on Twitch if you're still on Twitch over there. But we post this podcast on Spotify. So if you want to go in your car, go work out, and listen to us talk about anime, we are on Spotify. You can watch the anime there too. The video uploads, and now we're in 1080p. Hopefully, it looks better. They upgraded the service that we use, so now we are in 1080p. So
Can
now
you
you
see
can
my
see
pores?
you could see all of us. Hopefully, we'll see. But
Cosmo,
yeah,
I'm guessing it might have to do with the bartender. Why would you think that?
I might have to. Maybe I don't know. Bartender Glass of God. I put this one
Spoiler
there.
alert. Come on,
I know,
bro.
right? Jesus, we haven't even watched it. Jeez. So watch episode 1 through 4 of Bartender Glass of God. It should be on Crunchyroll. It is on Crunchyroll. Watch those before next Wednesday. Oh man, you're gonna love this one. I'm Jules Human, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.